share. And I would be interested to know from you, what is your understanding of this term, basic term, racism, and then also structural racism?
Yeah, I mean, if I take you back just a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know, one of the most resilient colonial monuments is language, you know, and you know, we don't even see it as a monument, but it is monumentally devastating because it is so silent and so ignored. When you look at the terms that are becoming popular over the years, you know, like inclusion, if you're talking inclusion, actually, what are they saying? Are they saying include yourself to me? You know,
Yeah.
because inclusion automatically means exclusion. And who's being excluded and how are they being addressed? I mean, even when you talk about human rights, which is considered universal, how can it be universal when it was created when a large number of people were not considered human? And a lot more people are falling through the cracks, not being considered human. Look at what happened in Rwanda. They were not human, otherwise they would have been saved through the human rights. Look at Palestine, idem ditto. They're not considered human. Right now, we've got about 6 genocides going on in the world. Those people are not considered human. Otherwise, we would have acted immediately, you know? I mean, when you think about the International Day against the elimination of racism, today everyone has shortened it to the International Day Against Racism. Yeah, rightly so. It was created in 1966, following the Sharpeville Massacre. You know that, yeah? Where so many people died. I can look it up, and so many people were injured. And the UN, the world was shocked by it. And that's why 6 years later, they came up with, we can't have this. We have to have an international day for the elimination of racial discrimination, right? But imagine if you have a car and it's been considered faulty. Are you going to wait 64 years before you even make an effort to repair it? In 64 years, the only thing has changed is that we have dropped the term elimination off. That's the only thing that's changed, but there has been nothing dramatic that has taken place. And it is not impossible, because during Corona, where there was a lot of stereotyping of people of Chinese and Asian descent, before Corona was over, there were laws preventing this. Before Corona was over, there was a structural change to ensure that this was stopped. It doesn't take an idiot to realize. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that we are still not considered human. Certain clusters in society are not considered urgent enough for their situation to be addressed structurally, systemically, and institutionally. So when it comes to racism, people tend to kind of jumble up the meanings as per, especially neoliberal thought is to kind of jumble up this word to suit their own neoliberal kind of vision.
Yeah.
One can start by the fact that the idea of excluding others and, radiating to where you feel safe, to where you feel that you belong, is a very normal feeling. This is called racism. It's not. It's a normal feeling. Even the animal kingdom has it. Even when you look at ants, they will bunch up together with the ants where they feel safe. It's a normal feeling,
Yeah.
So we have to start by that. Our humanity binds us or compels us to actually radiate to where we belong, where we feel like we belong, where we feel safe, and so on and so forth. To protect ourselves from what we feel might kind of be impinging upon that safety.
Yes.
Now, every other cluster is doing the same, and they've got a right to. They've got a right to thrive in doing the same. The problem comes when one cluster decides to consider itself superior and the other to consider the other inferior, and furthermore, to actually ensure that the other cannot thrive, cannot survive, cannot have that safety ever. They will do it through the laws, they will do it through the policies, they will do it through everywhere. They'll keep changing the laws and so on and so, because they have got their superiority, they've got the power, that is racism. That is racism. That feeling, people will think it's because of the other who is so different from us. That feeling is very much recognized even in our children. If you think about it, everybody knows what bullying is.
Yeah.
Everybody has experienced bullying. It's not a good feeling. You can be bullied because you got a big nose, you got a big pimple, you're fat, you're thin, you're lazy, there are many reasons that children can choose to exclude you from their group, and it doesn't feel good. It was very frustrating, for teachers and so on and so forth to actually address it, because these are children, what can we do? But today, almost all schools have got zero tolerance for bullying. There are structures, there is a law, there is a code, there is a punishment structure, there is a healing structure, there is it is possible. But then being bullied, your crooked nose or your red hair or your freckles and so on will not stop you from having a job, will not stop you from having access to health, access to housing and so on. It's not linked to a structural problem. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to discrimination. Discrimination is again very much mixed up with bullying and so on and so forth, where then everybody can use classism, because classism is discrimination. You've got more money than me, so I feel excluded from that. Let's take an example, like somebody we have an organization called Gaia, the animal rights activist. Maybe we were best friends in school, but then my friend has become Gaia and he's defending animal rights. But I love my meat. And so my friend said, no, you're not included in this club. You're not part of this club. We don't want you here. It hurts me. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I feel discriminated, I feel discriminated, But the fact that I am a member or not a member of this cluster does not have an impact on my access to education. I cannot go to school and say, oh, I'm a member of Gaia, I'm not a member of Gaia, please. No, it does not have access on my getting a job. It doesn't have a problem on my housing, and so it's not linked to a structural problem, So then we go to to racism, and it is precisely anchored upon that. It's precisely what is going to structurally, you're not included. You're not part of the so-called superior class. You don't have the right skin. You don't have the right education. You don't have the right background. You don't have the right sexuality. You don't have the right, so you're completely excluded, but you're excluded structurally. Your name, your voice, your everything, the fact that is going to impact upon whether you have access to education. It's going to impact about whether you have good health education. It's going to impact on whether you will be accepted for a house, because I know I've called for housing and I'm told, oh, are you the one who called? We don't give it to you people. You people are like animals, straight up in my face.
Oh God.
I mean, I've got 2 masters, but I'm still working on a bachelor level, So I'm doing my PhD, but no, I'm still, it's not acknowledged. So we have to link it to the structural aspect. There are those who even go further to xenophobia, but xenophobia, you can look at it as 2 people with actually competing power elements. All those things, linking it up to the structural is what makes you realize what makes it racist. What makes it racist is the fact that it's embedded in the structures and perpetuated, sustained, and by the structures. So it's horrendous, of course, it's horrible, but then it's not the same thing as somebody who is actually structurally blocked from thriving in every way.